Between the next video and the last video, I needed a break from all the super grindy multiple day long challenges and something a bit more low stress. This was only half of that. LEGO Indiana Jones is a game I've covered countless times on this channel, from challenge runs to speedruns and even full in-depth game analyses, but today we're doing something a little more casual. Have you ever been playing any LEGO game, trying to collect every mini-kit, red brick, or even stud meter, and you walk through a door only to find you can't go back and collect the things you've missed? Is there any feeling more frustrating? Did your mind immediately default to this kid in LEGO Batman 1? Well, today I want to push that to its limits, and I want to see just how far you can backtrack in every single level before you reach an impasse. The rules here are pretty straightforward. We're going to spawn in the final room of an unaltered level and see how much changes when you try to go through in reverse. Each level will receive a scaling color grade, with red meaning you can't make it past even a single room, scaling all the way to green, which is reserved for levels that you can make it all the way back to the first room from. The strats we use are weird, niche, and sort of stupid. And out of all 21 levels in LEGO Indiana Jones, only 4 of them are able to go from the end to the beginning. See if you can guess which ones in the comments down below, and obviously no cheating. It only makes sense for us to start not in the Lost Temple, but in the Temple of the Grail, which I guess in the movie was also lost, where we immediately get stuck. Despite the entrance to this hall being open, we aren't able to walk on through. I used a program called Brickbench to get a more in-depth view of the levels, and I was mainly looking for these light green squares. These are what we think of as doors within the game. Touching the green square will send you to the next part of a level. However, some of these squares need to be hit from certain angles to work. Some of them are double-sided, and some of them only function to reload the current room you're in, such as this one in the Temple of the Grail. Even if we were able to make our way to it, which we can't, it wouldn't send us back, just reload the final room, marking our first level as red. Desert Ambush starts a long-running trend of unbeatable vehicle missions. The only way out of these rooms is to finish them, and there's no going back. Take this Brickbench view of pursuing the Ark. Everything is already loaded in, and there's no door to the previous area. In Desert Ambush's case, if there was some way out of the tank segment, you could backtrack all the way to the start, but in pursuing the Ark you'd get stuck in the boxer fight anyways, which only progresses forward, even if you use the anvil to try to clip backwards, marking both of these levels as red. Trouble in the Sky, on the other hand, is my absolute favorite level in this challenge for the sole reason that it doesn't require any glitches or bugs, but simply niche game knowledge. If we go back one room from our spawn, we're locked in by a silver fence. No amount of jumping, alt-tabbing, or anything else will get us through, making it look impossible. But there's a very rare chance that the paratroopers who fall from the sky in the final room are equipped with a bazooka. So all we have to do is stand and wait for a while until one spawns, kill him, and blow the gate open. Unfortunately, while the next room is problem-free, we obviously can't make it back up to the blimp, or even the crashed plane, giving us our first yellow ranking of the video. I also had high hopes going into Motorcycle Escape, even though I knew off the bat it was going to be a bit of a challenge. Right away I noticed that the gate to the previous room is open, but when you cross a certain threshold on the ground, it shuts, and the room really begins. My first idea was to try and finish the room normally to see if the gate would open back up. While I wasn't able to damage or kill the enemies to get their weapons, I was able to whip them away, but there weren't enough bazookas to take down all the turrets. This did, however, show me that if I open the side garage, enemies with motorcycles flood out. And if I could somehow trigger this before the door starts to close, I could maybe hop on a motorcycle and make it to the room transition before it shuts. Only a few tries later, and we made it. From here on out, I thought it would be smooth sailing. And then this jump showed up. There's no way around this one. You can't even bring a vehicle from the previous room. I thought I could maybe do something from out of bounds, but even after getting a DIW behind the gate, I wasn't able to fall below the ground, making this level our very first orange ranking. Which brings us to Castle Rescue. I knew we were going to run into difficulties in the fire room, but what I didn't expect was to have problems before then. In fact, our first puzzle is just a few feet from our spawn, in the form of this big-ass pit. While you definitely aren't able to make this jump across where the bridge is supposed to fall, there might be another route we can take. I used the upper platform to just barely land on top of the fence, and from there I tried over and over to make this jump to the lower area on our left. I was getting close, but the best attempt fell just short and put us on the wrong side. That wasn't until I got this clutch respawn on the very edge, allowing me to buffer a jump and make it clean over. Then we get stopped 2 feet later, giving us another yellow score. The quest for Dick comes to a halt right away in the form of yet another vehicle segment, and it's not like we could go much further back regardless of this, so we get to move on to Temple of Doom, where once again, we're plain stuck in the last room. This is a pretty popular trend in this movie in specific, which is quite a shame, as you can make it pretty far back otherwise, just not all the way to the cave. While Escape the Mines suffers an unsurprisingly similar fate, not like they've got reverse gears on a minecart, Free the Slaves is the level that truly ripped my heart out. I really tried to make this level work, but it just won't. For starters, there's no way in hell we can make it to this door before it closes. Using Brickbench, I was able to verify that it does in fact take us backwards, we just can't access it. I spent hours trying to lag clip out of bounds on every single object in the room, but none of them worked. I even started wall running by repeatedly alt-tabbing on the left side of the room to try and get past the wall, but there was zero terrain to stand on once I did. The only option we had left was a super jump cancel, but out of all the setups that I found, none of them seemed to work. In a last-ditch effort, I tried to combine the wall run with the super jump cancel for maximum distance, but it gave me a different respawn point. It was over. This sucked, and it hurts to say that this level is a red, because Temple of Kali is also a red, despite only being 2 rooms long. There isn't even a leftover door out of bounds to take us back. Oh, and Pancot? Well sure, we don't get stuck in the spike room, but we don't get to make it much further, and we can't even grab the boxes from this far away to help us with a clip. Besides, we couldn't get out of the palace either way. Shanghai is our only chance to make it out of a level's final room in Temple of Doom, and spoiler alert, we can't. This level is very similar to Temple of the Grail, where there is a visibly open path that's blocked by an invisible wall. Like, what purpose does putting this here serve? There was a load zone out of bounds that I saw in Brickbench, but after using some super tight jumps to get out of bounds, how the f did you get up here? I couldn't quite hit it at the right angle to send us backwards, leading me to believe it's simply a reload trigger. Temple of Doom was a nightmare. I'll give all of you one final chance to amend your comments down below. 1 movie and 3 bonus levels to go, and 4 of them are possible to beat backwards. Obviously, Young Indy is a no-go, with all 3 segments of the level being completely detached. You can make your way from the end of room A to the beginning of the room with this corner jump around the door, but it's very unimpressive. Ancient City and Warehouse actually are beatable backwards, only because they're a single room long. You start and end in the exact same place, giving us only 2 remaining beatable levels, all of which are in Raiders. I can tell you off the bat that it isn't going to be opening the Ark, as there's no way out of Balak's ceremony, and no door out of bounds either. We already covered pursuing the Ark, no surprise there, but we finally dive into something worthwhile in Well of Souls. So right away we have a tough jump to make from the platform suspension over to the mainland, and then from there to the exit of the room. We run into 0 problems in the next 3 areas, and after shoveling up the lever, we get to this situation. This might be a point of contention for a lot of you. The way that Well of Souls as a level is formatted is very strange, as you revisit Room A twice, once right away after spawning in, and then once after the mid-tro cutscene with Marion. While you might think that these are 2 separate areas, it's actually the same exact room, just at a different camera angle. It's why we can walk backwards from the catacombs as Marion and end up as Sala, or why the big speedrun skip where you go out of bounds and hit the second version of the room's door is possible. So technically, yeah, we are back in Room A. We might be stuck out of bounds, but we did make it from the final room to the first room, with it even being the first permutation. This gives us our very first green ranking of the video, even if it is a little weird. 1 green level left, and it might happen sooner than you think. It initially seems like City of Danger is another bust, with a huge gate locking us in. But for some reason, the game gives you a motorcycle right here by the level end door, and if you drive it into the back of the gate, it breaks it open just like the truck is supposed to do from the front normally. We can do a pretty tight jump with Marion in the next room, which I got first try, I know, relax, and another which requires an alt-tab to clip up the terrain at the end. It just takes a few more steps to finish off, or I guess begin the level, giving us our second and final green of the video. Which begs the question, why can't you beat the Lost Temple or Into the Mountains? Outside of the fact that Marion's bar isn't re-enterable after it burns down, the gap that you normally raise the bridge up from is impassable, since there is a large area of sliding terrain you can't jump off of, even with multiple alt-tabs. Besides that jump, you can make it all the way to the ruins of the bar, just not enter back in, giving us another red. And to top it off, we have our worst level yet, where we don't just get stuck in the last room, or the second to last room, but the inner cave as well, with a thin door blocking our path. And, well, that's it. Obviously you can't beat this game going backwards, but the strategies used to get just a little further in a given level are surprisingly interesting. Interesting? Why did I say it like that? And knowing how in-depth these games can be, it's likely I've missed something major, and there could be another green level lurking out there, somewhere. God, I hope it's Free the Slaves. I hope you enjoyed this mini challenge. What game do you want to see it tried in next? I could easily whip something up for the complete saga or even Lego Batman, if it's something you want to see. But we've got a pretty big video coming out before then, so make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss one of the most requested videos of all time on this channel. See you next time, and thanks for watching.